Welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today's video is going to be a farmhouse thrift DIY video. So this first little piece I'm going to be doing was $1.79 from Goodwill, and then I'm just using some wood filler to fill in those little holes. They were already like that when I picked this up, but I figured it might as well just do this the right way. I was thinking of maybe just leaving it as is and adding some florals without using wood filler and trying to actually cover those up, but I figured, you know what, let's just paint this a different color. Yes, my hair is in here. I usually have dog hair, cat hair. I have all kinds of hair in all of my crafts. It just happens. It's just everywhere all the time. I am using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss to color this entire thing. This took absolutely forever getting the little cracks and in between the little dowels and on the inside of this. It took way longer than I actually thought it would, but I am so glad that I decided to repaint it. Although I love all things white, I am a little obsessed with using this moss color as well, and I kind of forget, like, when the holidays start, when it comes to fall and Christmas, I actually forget like the colors that I truly love in my home. So when the holidays are over, it's fun to get back into doing normal farmhouse DIYs. I decided to distress this just a little bit around the edges, and I think it kind of took off some of the paint, but I do like the way that it looks. I ended up just using a regular piece of sandpaper. I think this was like a 220 grit, so it wasn't doing a ton for me, but it is what I had on hand, and sometimes I like to use the sanding sponge, but when you use it so many times, you just need to throw it away and pick up a new one. I decided to add one of these Dollar Tree stickers to the center of this, and then I just added some florals in. Let me know in the comments below what you guys would do with this piece, because although I love the florals in it, I don't like the little stems sticking out at the bottom, but I don't want to cover those dowels either. Next one, I ended up sanding a sign down. It said to the lake or something like that. It was not my style, but I love finding wood pieces like this. This was $1 from a yard sale, and I'm using the Minwax stain in the color Classic Gray. I found this wreath. It's a metal wreath. It's really pretty. It was $3 from a yard sale, and although that was kind of pricey, I thought I would be able to make a really nice sign. And this is only going to cost me $4 to make this. I'm using a Farmhouse silkscreen transfer. This one is from Michaels. I've used this plenty of times, but I absolutely love this one. I love putting Farmhouse on a lot of my items, and I don't keep every single one. So if you walked into my home, you would not see Farmhouse. I mean, you might, but not this much. But I just put the farm at the top of this sign and house at the bottom, and then I just use some hot glue to add that metal wreath. I think I'm going to have to add some E6000 just to make sure that it doesn't fall off. So far, so good, but just to make sure it stays on forever. And this is what it looks like when it's done. One, I used this window for a Christmas DIY, and I ended up tearing it apart because it just wasn't something that I was going to keep around in my home. So I decided to go back in with some Waverly chalk paint in white and paint this entire thing. I ended up spray painting it and then dry brushing it white, and it just really wasn't something that I wanted to keep around, and I just love the white. So I had to color. I was going to say I had to color, but I had to paint to just every side to this window possible. This was actually a weird looking Christmas window when I first bought it, and then I decided to distress this with my sandpaper. Yes, this is probably not the most professional looking thing, but we use what we have around here. I'm just dry brushing it with some Waverly Antique wax, just very little, and just going around. I was going to keep this completely white, just stress it, show a little bit of that black on the window, but it really did need this, and once this was done, I am so happy that I did decide to use that antique wax over the top. I picked up this gather sign. It says $3.29, but at my Goodwill outlet, anything that is $3.29, I think is $1.29 or $1.79. I always get it messed up. I want to say maybe it is $1.29. But it was brand new from the Hobby Lobby spring line, so I'm pretty sure it was probably inexpensive whenever somebody picked that up. I'm just cutting some eucalyptus leaves. These are from Walmart, and I just bought a ton of these before the price went up at Walmart. I think they're $1.27 now, which is still a good deal because I think Walmart florals and greenery are very high-end looking, so I think it is still a really great price. And then I'm just hot gluing and adding a ton of leaves, just the way I like. And then once that was done, I added a burlap flower in the center of this, and I think this is so pretty. I picked up a ton of these burlap flowers off of Amazon, and I will link those for you guys. There's just a ton of different ones to choose from, but I love the way this turned out, and then I just hung this right up on my wall. One, I had a set of 3 wooden faux books, and I started to sand these. I have already actually crafted with these before, but I just did not like the way they looked anymore. I was going to sell them, and I thought, you know what, why not just redo them and figure out what I like and then what I want to display in my home. So that is exactly what I did. I had to do about 3 coats to cover those rub-on transfers that I added. They were from Dollar Tree previously, and yeah, I picked up these books. I want to say they were probably $1 from a yard sale, maybe even less, but I use the color Moss Celery and the Waverly chalk paint in white, and then I'm just using this silkscreen transfer I picked off Amazon, and then the Chalk Couture chalk paste in the color Bright White. And then I just decided to decorate this how you like, or you can embellish it how you want. I just decided to go in with some twine, wrap it around a couple times, and then just add a burlap bow. And you could do so much more with this. You could add some different kind of ribbon. I just like to keep my stuff really simple, and I feel like when I go above and beyond using a ton of bows or ribbon, I end up just not liking the way it looks, and I'm never bored or sick of twine, so that is why I decided to add the twine to the books, and I think this stack looks super cute. Next one, I'm using this Well Wishes for the Mr. and Mrs. I think this came from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and it was brand new, and they were selling it for $2 at a yard sale. The first thing I did was take the hardware off, and this was super simple to do. I just filled it in with some wood filler, and then I ended up painting the entire thing with a Waverly chalk paint in white. It did take a couple coats, but once that was done, we're going to just be turning this into just a really fun vase or like a little box floral centerpiece. Although it was cute with the lid on, I decided to just get rid of that. I was not going to turn this back into any sort of box, although you probably could with what I'm going to be doing with it. So I think the lid is long gone along with the hardware. So there's just not a possible way I could do it. But if you could find something like this, you could turn it into all kinds of stuff. Piggy bank, whatever you'd like. These rub-on transfers are from Amazon, and I didn't realize they had a sticky film to the top. Like, I've used a ton of rub-on transfers, and you'd almost think that the tops were kind of peeling right off. Like, I had to pull this off, and it started taking some of the paint off, and I was like, I've never seen rub-on transfers like this where they have a sticky top to them. So I did end up having to fill in some of the areas where the paint was coming off. No big deal. Use a tiny little paintbrush. It's just a little setback, which is kind of annoying when you're just trying to get something finished, but I wanted it to look good, so I did end up touching all the paint up. And then I just did one of these for each side. I don't know if I would recommend these transfers, but they did work. They did come on very nicely. Like, I didn't have issues except that sticky topper of the transfer. So I will link these for you guys as well if I can find them. I actually have had them for a really long time and just decided to use them. I think I got them around maybe fall time, and then I never did any everyday crafting. So they've just kind of been sitting around for a while, but this is what it looks like when it is done. I was so happy when this project was done. Before that, I did end up sanding some of the sides, some of the edges, and then I did sand the top of the part down, or the top of the box, top of the part down, top of the box down, just to get any of the paint that I, like the unwanted paint. So I decided to do that as well, and this is what it looks like when it is done. I just added a ton of greener. I had a lot of lamb's ear and some eucalyptus. I think this turned out so pretty. Up these letters that spell out home. These were from the Goodwill outlet. And when I say I went thrift shopping, it is always the Goodwill outlet. I don't know about your Goodwills. I have heard from so many people that it just got so expensive. So when I do go to our regular Goodwill, I just kind of cringe at the prices and I have to walk out. But I love that the outlet sells things at a discounted price. So I picked up these letters for only $1.29, painted them with the Waverly chalk paint in white, and then I did just use my little sanding block to sand down the sides and the edges to make them look distressed. And I love the way these turned out. I think they are so pretty. I even thought about stacking them and gluing them together so it didn't take up so much space in my hutch, but I think this turned out just so pretty. Cutting board also came from the Goodwill outlet, and it looked pretty new to me, and I am just going to be using a Dixie Belle silkscreen transfer. I've used this one multiple times in multiple videos, but it's one of my favorites, and I do sell a lot of my items, so that's why you do see me reuse items quite often. It's really for inspiration for you guys so you can see how many different items or how many different pieces you can actually use silkscreen transfers on. So this one I have done tons of pieces with, and that's all I did for this one. I think this turned out so cute. You could put this in your kitchen and it would look absolutely adorable, and it took seconds to make. Little Pig cutting board was also $1.29 from the Goodwill outlet, and I'm using my Waverly chalk paint and moss to paint this. So I love wood, do not get me wrong, but I felt like this needed some color. I'm using these rub-on transfers that I found from Dollar Tree. I found these quite a while ago, but I have still seen them. I've actually seen them recently, so I'm hoping they don't bring back all the old rub-on transfers, although I do hope you guys get these if you've been on the search for them. But I really want them to come out with some brand new transfers. I'd be so excited. And I did end up using pretty much an entire sheet and a half for this one, but it is so easy to just lay these rub-on transfers down. You just kind of put them down, rub over the top of them, and then I usually do it pretty slow when I'm lifting up, so in case I have to go back and fix some of the transfer that did not go on my piece, I can do that instead of just ripping it off super fast. Little White House was 79 cents from the Goodwill outlet, and I'm also using a Dollar Tree rub-on transfer. I've had these probably as long as the other ones, and now I'm just trying to figure out if the way I cut it is going to fit. I like pieced this out, put it on top, and then I was like, I think I cut this too short. Ended up not. I was just holding it the wrong way. Using my little thick crafter stick. These are from rub-on transfers I've found from Dixie Belle, the website, and Amazon's. I'm using some more rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. This Farmhouse one, I'm just using Farmhouse, putting the farm on the top, the house on the bottom, and then some black greenery pieces to the bottom. And I think this turned out so cute. And I love being able to use thrifted items along with Dollar Tree items. And it does not cost that much. It's so inexpensive. And I have a ton of rub-on transfers that I am still able to use when I'm finished with this project. That is it for my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, I would love if you consider sticking around and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!